starting December 13th. I'm here to tell you that you can subscribe now on Apple and Spotify, and I'll be sure to let you know the new YouTube link when it comes out. Listen to the show and hear a perspective that is completely different than those that are already out there. I know their world after 10 years in the media, and I also know the staff's world thanks to 3 years in the Manning Center. So subscribe now and hit the bell and get the reminder you need because you won't want to miss this. All right, today we go over Ole Miss in the top 3 in the SEC and Access Bowl since the playoff era started. We're going to do the Egg Bowl a little bit, and we are going to go over lines for championship weekend. I'm Stephen Willis, and I am very glad you're joining us, but stick around and we will get right to it. Hey, welcome to the Palmcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the podcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. Hey, welcome to the Palmcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, soon to be the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We have put links in the description. You can go down and subscribe to them immediately as well. So that's the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. This show is brought to you by NetSuite. Today's episode is brought to you by NetSuite. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. Head to netsuite.com/lockedonncaa for special end-of-year financing on #1 financial system for growing business. Again, I am Stephen Willis. This is the soon-to-be Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Egg Bowl and what exactly that means. And what it really means is that you can count on Ole Miss to move on to the next level. The Egg Bowl is remarkable because it was irremarkable. You know, it wasn't anything to write home about. Nothing crazy happened. If you want it crazy, tune in for the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl was the one that hijacked what the Egg Bowl was. But the Egg Bowl was a great game. Ole Miss kind of physically dominated the game, ended up just pushing toward away and winning 31-21 in Matt Corral's last Egg Bowl. Long way to go since him and Jamal Peters got into a fight in the end zone in 2018. That was the Jordan Ta'amu dislocated finger game, and he wasn't able to come back. Matt Corral came back into the game. All that happened, and like I said, with the fist fight that happened, it is what it is, you know, so to speak. It is what it is. And it's important to realize the fact that it was unremarkable is a step in the right direction. This thing kind of flew off the rails, in starting with 2017, honestly. And 2018 was down, 2019 was down, and then last year's 2020 game started to kind of right the ship a little bit, and 2021 started to right it even more. I expect next year they're going to continue to step down that road, but it is what it is when dealing with the Egg Bowl. The big game, the big thing you need to remember from this game, and because you can actually talk about football about it, is the Ole Miss lack of tempo. Ole Miss decided to kind of take down what Mississippi State does to fight tempo by not running tempo. And Ole Miss slowly and methodically just drove the ball down the field. They could run the ball essentially at will whenever they figured that out. And basically, Mississippi State was guarding the box and then cloud coverage on the outside. That's the reason those screens were open. Ole Miss running off tackle was open. The one thing Ole Miss didn't do is really inside zone. There was a couple of leads and things like that, powers that were ran from the pistol with Snoop Connor, but for all intents and purposes, Ole Miss was able to kind of look at what they normally do. So it was a great game. Like I said, it was remarkable for being unremarkable, and that will be the story of the Egg Bowl 2021 style. And I'm personally just very happy about all of that and the direction it will go. All right, college football fanatics, you heard about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the daily fantasy made easy. I love this, and I know you will too. Prize Picks is a leader in college sports fantasy. Basically, it offers more college football props than anyone in the world offer through star players of the Power 5 as well as mid-major players you might not have ever heard of. Prize Picks offers any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown. All of your users that deposit $100 will get it matched. You just use the promo code LOCKED ON. Again, that is promo code LOCKED ON. Basically, you pick 2 to 5 players every week, and you do over/under projections. You can win up to 10 times on any entry. Prize Picks allows mixed sports entries too. You can take the over on LeBron combined with the under on Mahomes in the same entry. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Check out Prize Picks and use promo code LOCKEDON, or go to your App Store and download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Again, I want to thank everybody for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube eventually. We're going to do the YouTube page eventually, and we are going to move on about that. So, I was looking at basically the New Year's 6 and thinking about where Ole Miss sits. And you started crunching numbers and everything. There's 8 SEC teams that have made New Year's 6 Bowl since it originated in 2014. So this is a decade long at this point. So it's important where you are, and where you sit is a relative indicator of where you are. It just is. But since 2014, after this year, Ole Miss will go to the Access New Year's 6 3 times. Alabama has been there every year. That's all 8. Georgia has been there 5 times. Ole Miss 3. And that'd be the 3rd ranked in the SEC. After that, I think LSU, Florida, and Auburn is at 2. Texas A&M and Mississippi State is at 1. The rest have not been to a New Year's 6 bowl game. This is important to realize because this is an indicator of what the actual tiers are, not what you're told the tiers are. This is an indicator of what the actual tiers are. And it is, like I said, it's important to think of that. Ole Miss has done this with multiple head coaches. Lane Kiffin will be the 2nd head coach to lead them to a New Year's 6 bowl game. And that is more than anybody else can say in the SEC. So 3 New Year's 6 bowls. That's a Peach Bowl, that's a Sugar Bowl, and whatever happens this year, Peach, Sugar, or Fiesta, who knows? But that appears to where Ole Miss should be. LSU at 2 did their national championship year, and they went to the Fiesta Bowl and played Central Florida the year before. And I think Auburn's been a little bit like they've gone to the Peach Bowl because they lost to Central Florida the year that Central Florida won the national title. And yeah, Florida's been there twice under Dan Mullen. They ran the last 2 years until this year, and this year they ran him off. And let's see, Mississippi State went to the Orange Bowl, got beat by Georgia Tech. Texas A&M went to the Orange Bowl, they beat North Carolina. So that's the way that is being put together. So it's a pretty interesting stat whenever you look at Ole Miss being 3rd in the SEC in these major bowl appearances, these top level bowl appearances. And then you stop to think of it. 2017, 2018, and 2019, Ole Miss was on fairly significant probation or NCAA risk. So there's a hole in the football program at that point. But yet, even with that, Ole Miss is third in the SEC when it comes to access bowls in New Year's 6. And I mean, that is worth pointing out. That I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. Whenever anybody tries to tell you what they think is a good job, just tell them that stat of what's going on. That one. This job can lead you in the playoff if you win your games. You're on TV every week. You have top level bowl games that you can get to from this program. This Peach Bowl, Sugar Bowl has already been to, and this year will be in the Peach or Fiesta or Sugar. So don't ever let anyone tell you what Ole Miss can't do as a program, because it just won't work out. It just doesn't work out. It doesn't fly. Because Ole Miss is third in the SEC in New Year's 6 games. All by themselves. They're not even tied with anybody. They're third. The only ones that are ahead of them are Alabama, who's ahead of everybody, and Georgia, who's ahead of everybody. And then Ole Miss comes into play. That is just a fantastic stat that I see, that I'm looking at, that I just enjoy it, really, because third in the SEC. It's a huge game. It really is. It is a big stat. All right, this is it. The putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But you're on your backswing. Your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software. To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. Basically, NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system that powers your growth. With visibility and control of your financial, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes, close your books in no time, while staying well ahead of your competition. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite, and right now, through the end of the year, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program to those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/LockedOnNCAA. Head to netsuite.com/LockedOnNCAA for special end-of-year financing on this #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/LockedOnNCAA. And also, I want to tell you about Built Bar. It's here. The best Monday of the year is Cyber Monday, and Built.com is the place to aim your mouse. Get at least 20% off everything. Delicious and healthy. That's 20% off site-wide, and even bigger discounts on Built Boost, broth, and Built Swag. A brand new Built Bar flavor has just landed in time for Cyber Monday. Caramel Almond Delight, and offers everything it promises. Caramelized chocolate, check. Almonds, check. Delightful, double check. Be sure to get yours before they're gone. And this season, maybe you're craving a white chocolate for a limited time. You get a new special Built Bar Puffs flavor. White chocolate cheesecake, the yummy protein treat filled with marshmallowy center covered in white chocolate. 'Tis the season to save and to give your test buds the gift of Built Bar. Get to Built.com for these incredibly tasting bars and 20% off everything. Head to built.com. Enter code LOCKED20 before it's too late. We're going to talk a little bit about the current lines this week for championship week. Really excited about that. Lots of stuff coming up now. The first major conference championship game is the Pac-12 championship. It's Friday night. Utah is currently a 2.5-point favorite. They opened at 3. If you remember correctly, a couple of weeks ago, Utah just beat the brakes off of Oregon. I don't know how they will do on a neutral site, but it's something well worth paying attention to, as the Utah team could be interesting. They could be kryptonite with what they do compared to Oregon. Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State is a 6.5-point favorite. The line actually started 6.5. Baylor, Oklahoma State. They're gonna, I think, suit it up at Arlington. This is a game where if Oklahoma State wins this game, they're probably in the playoff. If they lose this game, the Big 12 might not get a team in the playoff. I don't know what happens exactly, but I'm looking forward. I think Oklahoma State would probably be the pick in this game. I think they would. Conference USA, Western Kentucky is a 1.5-point favorite over UTSA. The Roadrunners of San Antonio are underdogs in the championship game after being undefeated until basically last week when they got boat raced by North Texas. So Western Kentucky grabs the early point spread advantage in this game. App State gets a 3-point favorite over the, Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, and Billy Napier going to Florida, but I think he's going to go to Florida after that game. But App State is a 3-point favorite. It should be interesting. Sun Belt, some really good programs in the Sun Belt this year, and worth paying attention to as well. In the AAC, Cincinnati is a 10.5-point favorite over Houston. This is a danger game for Cincinnati, I believe. Houston is good enough to pull off the upset. I think Houston is 11-1. Both these teams are going to the Big 12 as soon as, I guess it gets cleared, maybe 2022, 2023. I'm not 100% sure when all this movement will happen, but they are the two of the teams that are replacing Texas and Oklahoma. Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite over Alabama. Line opened at 4.5 points. It's a game where if Alabama had trouble with Auburn's defense last week, they're going to really struggle against Georgia's defense. This is a special defense. That -6.5 is pretty close to the number of points they give up in a given game. So unless you can hold Georgia to 10, 14 points or so, if Alabama's defense has a big day, I think Alabama is going to be in trouble. I don't think they're going to be able to score with Georgia because that defense is just too good. Just too good. Interesting to see. It's 4 o'clock Eastern Saturday on CBS. Also, that night, Michigan is a 10.5-point favorite over Iowa. This is going to be the most Big Ten of Big Ten games. I'm interested to watch them as all of this unfolds and what's going on. Michigan getting a little bit of a bump from Vegas because of what they did to Ohio State. I think Iowa is going to play them very tough, though. It's worth keeping an eye on. Also in the ACC, Pittsburgh is a 3-point favorite. It opened at 3.5 over Wake Forest. And, I think that's going to be a good game. Clemson kind of exposed Wake Forest a little bit, but Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, and everything with the Pittsburgh offense, it'll be interested to see as well. So that is the lines going on this week. This has been a lot of fun. This is the first day of the transition to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're transitioning over elements You can get used to the way the show will sound, and honestly, I'll get used to doing it. I mean, that's the idea, right? So I hope everybody has a good time and has done well. So I want to thank everybody for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Next episode, we are going to get into some more bowl talk and just kind of talk about everything that's going on in the football program, as well as maybe get into the slow start by the basketball team. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Show will get a little bit smoother. We will do a little bit more with elements. We're trying different and new things, but that's just what this week is for. So thank you very much for tuning in. Tomorrow, I hope to basically have a little more for you as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to talk some bowl games and get ready for my Disney trip next week. There's no Palmcast tomorrow. Tomorrow I've got medical things, so Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be the last shows of the week. We have Beast of the East tonight, and SEC After Dark Wednesday, and Talking Ball and all of that stuff. So tune in for that. But this has been a whole lot of fun. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a short podcast. We'll give you a little bit of time back. We'll catch you tomorrow. And of course, howdy toddy.